Cartoons have been going back since the dawn of television, and with each passing decade they have grown more and more pronounced, special, and unique. Some are slapstick, some are serious, and some are meant to make you question your life in profound ways. Either way, cartoons are awesome, and so we're here to show you 20 of the most iconic cartoon characters ever. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Aang. One of the most recent entries on this list, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Avatar: The Last Airbender was in fact an anime, but it's not. In fact, it's an American-made cartoon in the style of Japanese anime, with their own visual touches and such of course. Over the course of 3 seasons, Avatar: The Last Airbender wowed people with deep storytelling, beautiful visuals, and characters that would tug on your heartstrings as well as make you laugh. And centering all this was a young boy named Aang. Aang was special not because he wanted to be the Avatar, he was special because he didn't want to be the Avatar. He even ran away from home when he was going to be forced to do it, and when he woke up from his long 100-year slumber, he just wanted to be a kid and ride penguins, fall in love, and use his bending to make people laugh. But as time went on, he didn't shirk away from his duties, and while Aang was still a kid, he was truly the Avatar we needed. His beliefs on pacifism and looking for the best of people really made us connect with him, and by the end of the series, we were rooting for him 100% as he fought Fire Lord Ozai. While The Legend of Korra is a bit more divisive in how people see the main character and the series as a whole, there's no doubt that Aang is beloved outside of the M. Night Shyamalan movie, that is. I think it was terrible. Animaniacs. It's time for the Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. This show truly stands the test of time despite honestly not being on many people's top cartoons list for one reason or another. And that's their loss, not mine, because Yakko, Wakko, Dot, Pinky and the Brain, Runta and Rita, Buttons and Mindy, and the rest of this insane cast are worthy of praise. But focusing solely on Yakko, Wakko, and Dot, they were the embodiment of the old school cartoons like the Looney Tunes, who made frequent cameos while also bringing in some modern flair. Yakko, Wakko, and Dot weren't just family, they were a crazy family with one-liners that would put modern comedy to shame even now. They broke the fourth wall and loved it, and the writers clearly had the time of their lives making these characters do the most weirded out and hilarious stories. The show and the cast are eternal, and fans love them so much that they not only do live stage shows in their voice, and they're getting a reboot with said original cast. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. You're gonna see a lot of Looney Tunes characters on this list, but we'd be fools for not mentioning 2 of the breakout characters of the bunch in Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. The classic cat and mouse chase between them is legendary. It almost goes beyond the basics of cartoons because it's so entertaining. You know that Wile E will never catch that bird and you don't care. Why would you? It'd be stupid to, and it takes away from the fun. In truth, one of the things that make this pairing so fun is the insane levels that the writers went to in order to make it feel fresh and funny, including breaking the fourth wall, defying physics and logic, and so much more. Beep beep. Tom and Jerry. In the modern world we live in, there is an unspoken rule about violence in cartoons. Mainly, you can't exactly show too much unless it's a cartoon meant for teenagers and adults, like with anime or shows like The Simpsons, Archer, and more. But back in the days of Tom and Jerry, oh yeah, they didn't care. Tom and Jerry rarely ever spoke. Tom occasionally talked to others, mainly cats and dogs, and yet you didn't mind. You were more engrossed in the antics that they were going to get up to, and all the slapstick insanity that they were known for. Seriously though, if you thought Roadrunner and Wile E was violent, these 2 blew the roof off the place and made it look oh so good. True, they don't really have a modern show in this day, but that's probably more about the content than the lack of desire. Goku. While like Batman, not technically from a cartoon, there is little doubt in anyone's mind that the animated series of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z helped propel the legendary manga to new heights. In fact, Dragon Ball was the anime that many considered to be the reason that anime in general came to the West and succeeded. Because many previous attempts failed to make a lot of noise, a big reason for that was Goku. Goku was the protagonist of the series and a man/Saiyan who never stopped trying to grow and evolve in terms of his strength and fighting style. In fact, he's considered to be one of the greatest martial artists in fictional history because of how dedicated to his training he was. He refused to stop growing, refused to stop learning, and when an opponent beat him down, he got back up, worked harder, and got stronger so he could protect his family, his friends, and the world he lived on. But his eternal optimism and belief in getting better and strong made him a character you could root for, and with every glass ceiling he breaks, you can't help but wonder just how much more he's going to grow, and that's always exciting to see. Scooby-Doo. If you were to make a list of iconic cartoon characters and leave out Scooby-Doo, yeah, you'd definitely be faulted. The beloved canine made his debut in the classic animated series Scooby-Doo Where Are You? All the way back in 1969. And after the 2 seasons were viewed as a major hit, he's had countless sequels, spin-offs, movies both animated and live action, and so much more. Scooby is iconic because he's a scared dog all the time. Pair that up with his owner Shaggy, and you get a dynamic duo of epic proportions. His status as top dog, no other dogs are in the top 10 for the record, has gone unchallenged to this day, and even in 2020, 2020, he's still got cartoons on the TV and movies being made about him. Now let's go get some Scooby snacks. Garfield. Anyone up for some lasagna? Well, Garfield the cat isn't the first cat to make his name in cartoons and comic strips. He is easily one of the most entertaining, and for a very basic reason. He acts very much like a cat. Garfield is lazy, he hates Mondays, he doesn't like the dog that his owner keeps in Odie, he keeps making fun of John when he can. He's Garfield, and you can't help but love that. Garfield's staying power is proven in that he continues to have comic strips, cartoons, and even live action movies made about him. I mean, how many cats have had that honor? I rest my case. Daffy Duck. While a certain rascally rabbit may be the focal point of the Looney Tunes series and movies, there is no doubt that without a certain duck, it wouldn't have been as funny. Daffy Duck may be viewed as the stepped-on character of the Looney Tunes franchise, but in truth, he's one of their most comedic characters, and one that you can't help but laugh at when things just go crazy. Plus, seeing the frustration that a cartoon character can have when things go wrong is just insanely entertaining. A great example of this is in the legendary Duck Amuck cartoon, where he's fighting against the artist of the cartoon, which turns out to be a certain Doc, and losing his mind as things continue to go haywire. Plus, if you look at the early Daffy Duck cartoons and then compare them to the later ones in Looney Tunes history, you'll actually see a lot of depth and growth that was given to him. He's iconic, and that's not despicable. Samurai Jack. I'm sure some of you will be surprised that this rather soft-spoken character is on this list, especially since Samurai Jack isn't as mainstream as the 6 characters that are to follow, and you would be right in that aspect. However, when it comes to Samurai Jack, the legend lies not just in the show, but the man himself. Made by Genndy Tartakovsky, who at the time was one of the best creative minds working for Cartoon Network, the series followed a samurai who would later be called Jack, his real name is never said, as he fought to save his home from the villainous Aku. But before he could do the job, he was sent into the future. Now he has to return to the past and undo the future that is Aku. What made Jack so special as a character was that he wasn't your typical hero and that he would rarely talk. Voice actor Phil Lamar, who voices Jack, even joked about how easy the job was because the other characters in the series would do the talking and then Jack would say like 5 words and be off to do the deed. The kind of silent character is rather unheard of in the world of animation, especially when it comes to the protagonist. But that didn't mean that Jack was bland or base. He was full of lore and history and emotions, and some of the best emotions featured that, such as when he went up against himself via a dark clone known as Mad Jack, or in the now legendary final season where he contemplated suicide. Jack was the selfless character you rooted for from start to finish, and if you want further proof that he is an iconic cartoon character, look no further than the final season. The 5th season came over 12 years after the finale of season 4, all because the fans wanted a true ending. That's loyalty to a character. Homer Simpson. It goes without saying that certain television icons are meant for the adult crowd, and the show The Simpsons has never been afraid to be very adult in their humor at times, which makes it all the more ironic that one of their biggest stars is an idiot who doesn't always partake in said humor. Homer Simpson is the bumbling idiot patriarch of the Simpsons family. His dumb nature has helped drive the show for over 30 years, making it the longest running cartoon series in history, and thus making Homer one of the longest running cartoon protagonists ever, depending on how you look at things. Why people like Homer is rather simple. You can't help but love an idiot at times, and Homer is without a doubt an idiot. Don't deny it, you know it's true, but that's okay, because it works for him, and it helps the other members of the family shine in many ways. And in truth, you can't help but root for Homer. He's just a guy trying to live his life, and things just keep raining down on him. His family, his home in Springfield, and he keeps going. Plus, he is loyal to his family, and that means something. Plus, you know you're an icon when your catchphrase, "Joe," goes from made-up word to the actual dictionary. Scrooge McDuck. Some of you might be surprised that it's Scrooge McDuck and not his nephew, Donald, who has cracked the top 5. Well, there's 2 main reasons for that. Yes, we all love Donald, but part of his shtick is that you don't really understand him at times, so that kind of hinders him as a character. However, with Scrooge McDuck, you know exactly what he wants at all times, and that makes him a bit more complex. The second reason is DuckTales, both versions of the series. I rest my case. While Donald's origin is a bit up for debate, Scrooge is one that is steeped in lore no matter the version. He was born in Scotland, and his family had almost nothing to their name. After swearing to get his family a fortune, he promised to be tougher than the toughies and smarter than the smarties, and he did just that. He amassed a fortune that technically makes him the richest person in animation history. Think about that. Or if you need proof, look at his money bin where he literally swims in gold coins. Now sure, he's a penny pincher and doesn't want to spend any more than he has to, but that just makes him all the more lovable, because we can all relate. Not to mention he's an adventurer, and when he goes out with Huey, Dewey, and Louie Launchpad, and even Donald at points, you know that a grand adventure is meant to happen. So go follow Scrooge and make some DuckTales. Winnie the Pooh. What's there to say about a character like Winnie the Pooh that hasn't been said by by kids and parents all over the world. Well, we'll try and think of a few for you, okay? In short, Winnie the Pooh is absolutely the kind of lovable character that you want to have in your own life. He's not the smartest, he's definitely not the strongest, and he definitely has a honey addiction. But when it comes to love and friendship and the belief of others, he's definitely the one you want by your side. His loyalty to his friends like Piglet and Christopher Robin has been a driving force for many stories. Oh, and honey, we mentioned he has an addiction, right? Winnie the Pooh is a loving and funny bear that you just want to hug and not let go. And that's why he has endured for so many years across many cartoon series and even a live-action movie starring Ewan McGregor. And should some of you out there have children, I would venture a guess that you'll take your kids to the 100-acre wood to go meet Pooh and his friends someday. Charlie Brown. There are a lot of things that separate Charlie Brown from the rest of the pack when it comes to being an iconic cartoon character. Not the least of which is that you can't help but relate to Charlie Brown because he's just like you. He's not the most popular person in the world, he's not the most skilled, he doesn't do everything right, and he doesn't always get liked. He's the embodiment of the average person, and that is something that most people don't want to see on shows. But with Charlie, the way that the legendary Charles Schulz depicted him, you couldn't help but fall in love with the lovable loser. When he was sad, you were sad. When he finally had things going his way, you were rooting for it to go through no matter what, and you were begging him to kick the dang ball. The point is that it didn't matter the situation or the story that was trying to be told, you were rooting for Charlie Brown 100% of the time. You were wanting him to finally get his life on the positive track, and even when it didn't, you never stopped supporting him. He was more than just a cartoon character, he was a motivator, an inspiration, because we've all had our days where we've said, good grief, and yet we kept going because Charlie Brown did. Mickey Mouse. While not the first creation of Walt Disney, that would be Oswald the Rabbit. Mickey Mouse is without a doubt the biggest and most important creation of Disney's life. More than Snow White, more than Belle or Cinderella, Mickey Mouse was the literal mouse in the House of Mouse, and from then until now, he's been everywhere that a cartoon can be. Mickey Mouse, much like our number one character, has been put in all kinds of situations where you can't help but laugh, including the now legendary Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia that is still being mimicked to this day. And if that wasn't enough for you, he made the leap to video games in a way that even our number one entry couldn't top. He became synonymous with multiple franchises, including Epic Mickey, Castle of Illusion, and having a major role in Kingdom Hearts. And that says nothing of the comics, TV shows, kids movies, books, and more that he has been attached to over the many decades. Mickey Mouse is a boss, and Disney would literally not be the same without him. Bugs Bunny. I mean, who else could it be? Looney Tunes is by far and large one of the greatest and most important cartoons in the history of the world, and it was all rooted in a bunny who wasn't afraid to ask, "What's up, Doc?" Bugs Bunny was everything those early cartoons were meant to be and more. Slapstick, sarcastic, not afraid to break the fourth wall, and deliver us all kinds of insane antics that will make you laugh and wonder how they all came up with the stories that Bugs Bunny made us believe. Seriously, Bugs Bunny is a classic, and that's why they've tried to reinvent him in various ways over the years, including the reboot Looney Tunes show where they put Bugs and Daffy as roommates. It had its moments. Plus, Bugs was a major part of both Space Jam and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, in an epic cameo, I do mean. No matter what way you look at it, Bugs Bunny is an icon. He's literally the mascot of Warner Bros. Television, and he'll always be there when Warner Bros. Needs someone to make people laugh. And there you have it, a look at some of the most iconic cartoon characters in the history of the world, and where they rank among the best of the best. Which of these cartoon characters did you grow up watching? Which ones do you think are the best of the best? Do you feel that someone important got left off the list? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.